Welcome to another Thursday. It's the Danny and Paul show. And how you doing, Danny?
I am great, thanks, Paul. I am sitting here in a room in the Hilton in Dallas. Yeah, it's great to be here.
What are you doing in Dallas?
There is an AI conference that's also coupled with marketing and AI, and I figured that is just exactly where I belong. So I am here until Monday.
Awesome. 5 days in Dallas. Don't go outside. You're going to catch on fire and burn alive. It'll be hot in Dallas this weekend.
Oh, yeah. Well, usually at these things, we're always inside, so I doubt I'll be outside much.
Yeah, yeah. My best friend lives in Dallas. I go down there often. It's too hot there. So, anyway, today, what are we talking about?
We're talking about platforming to scale your small business.
Yeah, that's what I thought we were talking about. Oh my God, it's like the seventh time I've talked about this over the past 2 days. I'm dealing with a lot of small businesses right now, and they're trying to figure out how to platform
Mhm.
to scale, and they don't even know it, right?
All right.
So
For the audience, would you define platforming?
sure. Platforming is like you're building a house, right?
Mhm.
And you can't build the roof first because you'll be building it on the ground and have to lift it up to get on the structure underneath. So we really want to build the foundation,
Yeah,
otherwise known as the platform.
yeah,
So we want to make sure that we have all the processes in place to start scaling and growing the business.
yeah. Very important because if we start to do other things without that foundation set, right, then later it will come back and bite you in the behind, and stuff is going to fall into the quicksand, and that platform will be gone.
Yeah, well, you find yourself at that point where I just closed the biggest deal of my life. Oh crap! I just closed the biggest deal of my life. What do I do now?
Yeah,
So that happens because we're not ready to take the business on. We don't have the infrastructure or the processes to bring the people and the technology on board
hmm,
to be able to deliver on our business growth.
yeah. Yeah, from an HR perspective, which that just came to mind, it is amazing to me when people do start to hire people that they're just like, okay, well, there's your desk. That is not onboarding. Not at all. There's a lot of room for improvement uh, there with small businesses. I personally think uh, a lot of times business owners, we get so caught up in our day to day and we just assume that everybody knows what we know, and that's just not the case, right? So that's why putting some strategies in place, putting what you're talking about here, being able to put in those processes so that it makes it easy moving forward, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, really, there's four pillars to that foundation, right? There's the financial platform, there's the technology platform, there's the people platform, and then there's the vision, mission, and values of the company platform. Those are the four basics to put into or have ready for your business to be able to scale. And most importantly, the processes that are underneath of those to already documented
Yeah.
and ready to go as you bring people and technology uh, into play. Larger companies, this is a strategic planning session, right? We strategically look at our company for the next 4 years or 5 years, anticipate the growth, and then figure out or imagine all the problems that we could have going along the way. What could go wrong? And then we build contingencies in for those mishaps and processes to train our people and documentation to train our people and all of that together kind of builds us up and sets us up for scaling.
For sure. And to continue to document as you hit hiccups along the way, right? Oh, we thought that was going to work. We thought that out, but no, it actually didn't work out that way. So now let's go back and redocument so we have that moving forward. I think that's always it's constantly evolving, right?
Yep. Hey, do you have any examples of where this has gone horribly wrong?
Oh my goodness sakes, I have many examples. So I mean, I'll just use myself as an example. I had an AI company and just sold to the largest, our largest deal that was going to make the company. And I came. This is more on the HR side, but I came back with $1 million contract, and there was kind of infighting going on amongst the other co-founders, and it it nobody was prepared for that, and because we didn't have an exit strategy for a person that was leaving, it kind of blew up the company. So that's a really big example and getting very real and very personal there.
Yeah, that's succession planning. There was
That's true.
no
You're right.
succession
You're right.
plan for that person, right? Oh, that's horrible. Yeah, everybody is left in a vacuum,
Yes,
and starts sucking everybody in, and no
it
one can
really does.
breathe because it can't get done. Yeah, absolutely. Um, Interestingly enough, I've got a client that I've been working with for a few months, and we've been putting in some processes specifically around sales and then some around operations. They were a construction oriented company. It was kind of interesting. They were using their sales team also as their initial implementation team. So the sales guys were like, sell the project and then project manage the project.
Hmm.
Sell the project and project management this product. And we started like we're getting ready for them to platform to scale, right? And one of the things that we did is we split those two apart, right? We made the salesmen, hired some project managers to come in, and so that started working out really well. Built an entirely new sales process around what they were doing, and sales started going up. And I got a call from him last week, and they just signed a multi-million-dollar deal across the big ocean,
Uh-huh.
and they know exactly how they're going to handle it because if they were in the situation they were in now, it would have, or in back 2 months ago, it would have foobarred the company because they'd need three project managers to go do this deal, and they would have lost half their sales team, and revenue would have dropped through the floor,
Yeah.
right? So, being that we started this process, they're already in a better position to handle the deal that they got. And they've now hired on two more project managers and didn't impact the sales organization. So they're not completely set up to scale yet, but they're in process. Right
Yeah.
now, we're talking about business continuity, which is part of the scaling process. What happens if the key people in the company are injured, go to the hospital? What if there's a earthquake or anything that happens? How does the company operate afterwards? That's also part of scaling is understanding the things that can go wrong before they ever do
Mhm.
and having a plan to overcome those problems.
Right. Right. Yeah, and a lot of I mean, I know that a lot of business owners that it's not the most fun discussion, strategic planning to have because you don't want to plan for the worst. But the truth is, by planning for the worst, then the success is fun. I'll just put it that way.
Absolutely.
um, yeah.
So great. So, what other examples might you have that aren't anything with clients that you're working with right now?
Oh, yeah. So I have clients where a lot of where the CEOs are also are the main sales person, right? And so as they are closing deals, we've been putting in processes and putting together job descriptions for salespeople to understand what they need, because a CEO shouldn't be the person doing all the sales. I believe they should be the person. They can come in and be the CEO, but there's salespeople that should be selling the deals. And when you're really starting to get that momentum, also transferring that knowledge from the CEO to the sales team, and then allowing the sales team to continue to build upon that and build, those scenarios that may come up. Like, this is what happened here. This is why the deal died. Here's what we can do in the future. And I think that has been that's usually most of the clients that I work with. It's that transitioning from kind of the all around person that's doing the sales because they know the product the best, and then being able to let go of their baby and either hire a CEO or fully step into the CEO role. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I mean, every company goes through this in its beginnings. The CEO is actually the number one salesperson in any company. Now, his sales job changes. So at first, let's say the first $500,000, he is like the sales guy. He is the sales engineer. He is project implementer, project manager, and he closes the deals.
Right.
And then there's transition point, because to scale, the number one rule of scaling is to replicate yourself.
Yes.
How do you replicate yourself? Well, you hire all the little pieces that you're doing so that you can get to becoming the CEO. At the point where that's done, then the CEO becomes the salesperson of the company and not the product.
Mm-hmm.
The CEO's job changes from the perspective of selling the product to selling the company to investors, to larger projects, to strategic partnerships, to reseller organizations, depending on the product or service that you're bringing out. They become the chief, what's the word I'm
Visionary.
looking for?
Visionary.
This chief evangelist,
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
right? The chief evangelist of the company,
Yeah.
and selling it from a corporate perspective, and building deals to grow the company from that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, absolutely. They have to step out of the sales role, the product sales role, into a corporate sales role, into
Yeah.
selling the company and building relationships around it.
Right. And then being able to build those relationships and then feed the funnel that then feeds to their sales people. And you would also mentioned, which we've talked about many times on our show, which is the mission values statement and really understanding what those are. So continuing those forward while building the business, because sometimes those can get lost. You get caught in the minutia, and I think it's really important to make sure that those are front and center from the very beginning. At least when I was in human resources, that was one of the things that when I came in as a consultant, I always made sure that the CEO understood what his or her missions, vision, values, all those were, and that they were clearly articulated and communicated to the employees. And then also that makes hiring, I wouldn't necessarily say easier, but it makes attrition go down.
Well, yeah, if you're hiring with a specific optics that you're looking through from mission, vision, and values, then you're more likely to hire people that align with the company and
Exactly.
align with its current employees, which
Yep.
means they'll stay longer, right? They'll stay because they believe in the mission of the company. But that's CEO job number two, right? That is number two, ensuring that the mission, vision, and values are driven through the organization, and that there is alignment, and that their direct reports, or what I like to call the general staff,
Yes, exactly.
is,
Yeah.
and their heads of state are driving that mission, vision, and values through the organization, and hiring to it. HR does the hiring from an HR perspective, but the department heads fill their departments, and they should be also ensuring that the mission, vision, and values are being brought on board. The alignment is being brought on board.
Yep. Yep. Very important. And that yeah, because that also then that builds the culture, and culture can make or break a company as well.
Yep. Well, yeah, that will break a company. Can you imagine hiring a bunch of people who don't agree with what you're doing into your company? That just, it's a cancer, and
Yeah.
it'll slowly eat your company away.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So being clear on those is very important. It's very important to scaling. You can't scale without it. Um, Understanding your financial projections extremely important in scaling. So understanding which if variable costs and driving your product sales and increasing your global revenue and understanding your variable cost based on that revenue is extremely important. And then building processes. To your point, from HR standpoint, having each position well documented, well trained, um, compliance issues, all of that stuff needs to be in place because it's much harder to go back to and
Yeah.
fix when you're in the middle of growing the business and it slows the growth of the business. You know, you're
Absolutely.
taking in money, taking in money, taking in money, taking money. Whoa, wait a minute. We don't know how to fulfill all this. And it translates into poor customer support. It translates into poor employee attitude. And it translates into ultimately a lower satisfaction rate.
Across the board, yeah, because there's lots of belief that comes in for sure. So yeah,
And you
and
end
then
up in those stick points.
right, and then there's the marketing side of things where you know, I came up through corporate through sales. And it really wasn't until owning my own company and then also working with Grant that I was like, wow, marketing really is senior to sales. That yes, the product does not sell itself, and you know the best known does beat best product. So marketing is key. So also understanding, and that drives into your mission and values, and that drives into your budget, right, your finances, and it just drives into all across the board. So um, I don't know if that's the fourth pillar. Where would marketing go under those four legs?
Uh, Marketing goes under sales and marketing. It
Okay. Oh,
is
okay.
it is a pillar of revenue. It's revenue growth. So it sits on top, right? Marketing and sales. When we're talking about platforming, it's making sure that all the pieces are put together, right, for that marketing and sales to take off, right? So if you think about the four pillars of the launch pad, sales and marketing are the rocket,
Yeah.
okay? And once you get your launch pad built, now you're ready to fire
Hmm.
and let revenue take off.
Hmm.
So, um,
And I would say for a CEO, things that I've seen through multiple businesses that I've either worked with or have worked for is also that marketing can get out of control sometimes. So budget is really important, and really understanding where the company wants to go, and make sure everybody's on that same page. Um, Specifically, I'm thinking about a couple of companies in which every time they hired a new marketing director, that then the logo would change, and then the colors would change, and then oh my gosh, that's not consistent. Like it's okay, like you know, but it's like is the color of the logo really going to make a difference at this stage of the game? And my answer would be no. You know, you can get to a certain amount and then perhaps make some decisions, but yeah, It's not a logo that sells things. It's not a color that sells things. It is the service and value that you deliver to your clients, for sure. And fulfilling that need. And that's what marketing is good at, is being able to showcase and tell that story around why the business, the product fits the customer's needs.
Yeah, we're branching into an interesting area of marketing called branding.
Yeah.
Branding yourself, branding your product, and branding your company.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of dangerous, honestly. I've seen a few companies at a certain point change their brand. It was kind of interesting. I was watching was it last night. I'm not sure, but someone did a bit on Victoria's Secret.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in Victoria's Secret, their logo didn't change. Their none of their stuff changed. Their brand changed. It went a little to the left. They
Mm-hmm.
started getting a political idealism behind the brand.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said this for years. Companies should stay out of politics. It is not here or there. And they lost touch with their customer because they changed their brand.
Mm-hmm.
And sales
Plummeted, yeah.
did the same thing. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter what the politics are. I don't care. It
Right.
is really about them getting involved in taking a side in the politics and not realizing that both sides of those politics use their brand. And it gives someone a reason not to like you because you're taking a side in something that honestly you should stick in your lane and make the best product that you have and maintain that brand because you are that brand because of all of your customers.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. It does. However, there's different scenarios that are coming up in my head. Absolutely. If you want to change the world and you have a product that can do that, then you want to get it in as many hands as possible, and it shouldn't matter what the politics are. Agreed, 100%. Yet there are some companies that want to make a stance, right? But that's part of the mission and values. So
That's that. But I was just going to come back at you with that. You caught it. I was going to come back, but that is the brand.
exactly.
That's the
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
They came up with those vision, mission, and values.
Mm-hmm.
They branded because of those mission, vision, and values. They're selling their product to that market who they are messaging to because those customers align with those mission, vision, and values.
Right.
Therefore, you are 1,000% right. And what I'm talking about is the companies who have shifted their brand
Gotcha.
to support a particular ideology, right, wrong, or indifferent,
Right.
and have suffered the consequences of losing 50% of their customers. Disney, Bud Light, Victoria's Secret. Classic examples of companies that had a fabulous brand, had the right message for their customer, decided to, for all lack of better terms, abandon their brand
Mm-hmm.
and suffer the consequences.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're going to be a brand and you're going to have mission, vision, and values, stick to them because that's who your customer base is.
Yeah. So I'm curious. I'm gonna have to go do some research after this now and like see when that turning point happened in those companies. Was it that a new CEO was brought on, new board, new, you know? I'm just curious. I'm assuming yes, but
I know with Bud Light specifically, there's a new marketing director who
those
convinced the
darn new marketing people. I'm
new
telling
marketing people, just like you said, um,
you.
who literally abandoned the brand. I'm not sure with Victoria's Secret. I know that Disney was trying to do something good
Mhm.
from their point of view
Yeah.
and stepped into a rattlesnake nest.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of, that's it's not the people or the process or the politics or whatever it is. It is you've established this uh, you've
Which is
established
hard to do in the
platform.
marketplace. Yeah.
You've established this platform in the marketplace. You've spent years building it. You are now a household name. What are you thinking when you abandon that platform and step on sand?
Yeah. Yeah.
You just sink,
You
man.
just
You
weren't. Yeah.
just sink.
Totally.
I mean, and that's valid whether you're a Fortune 500 company or, you know, Buck's convenience store down the street.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
build your brand, be who you are, and don't lose focus on who you are. It's kind of interesting. It'd be the same thing a psychologist would say to you if you went in, you know, and you talked about you abandoning who you are because you wanted to be this other person because they were so great and all that. And the psychologist would say, do not abandon yourself.
Right.
Don't abandon who you are.
Yeah.
Be who you are and build upon that.
Right. Right. Yeah. And also
Perfect.
to all my marketing folks out there, it was I love you, just so you know. Uh, and in that instance, in that example of Budweiser, there's also the marketing. It's the CEO that allowed, because the CEO does hold the reins of the business, and it is his or her job to make sure that things align to their brand, just like you said. So yeah, peace,
Awesome.
love.
So what did we learn today?
We learned the 4 pillars of platforming. We learned that brand is very important, not to make that shift, and to really ask yourself the hard questions and think about the different scenarios, those roadblocks, those minefields that you may not step into, but you want to be prepared if you do, so that you're ready. Document, set those processes up.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
I think you did. You said it. I just regurgitated it.
All right. We're out of time. That was a fun
conversation. Yeah, so much fun. Thank you so much. I will be reporting back from Dallas throughout the weekend. So excited about that.
I think we should talk about AI next week, just because you're at an AI and marketing conference.
I would love
so let's speak to the AI. Let's speak to the marketing and see what you've learned. I want to learn what you've learned. So
absolutely.
I'm excited for it.
Deal.
All right.
We're in. All right.
Have fun at the conference. Pick up some clients. Knock it out of the park. Everybody, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.